Have you ever wondered what lets someone stay calm even when everything around them is falling apart? For Morgan Freeman, there's a little secret, a quiet strength that seems to anchor him no matter the storm. Morgan Freeman isn't just a voice. He's a pause in the chaos, a deep breath when the world expects a scream. In a Hollywood full of flash and panic, he moves with deliberate slowness. Seen his interviews? The way he responds when things go sideways? It's almost as if he has already practiced serenity. But how did he learn it? And what keeps him grounded? That's what really matters. Let's take a walk through his life. Picture young Morgan in Mississippi years before the rise, before the Shawshank Redemption made his name echo across generations. There were struggles, a childhood not lavish, plenty of disappointment, rejections, nights wondering if acting could ever be more than a dream. And yet, even then, something about him didn't break. Not fully. There was something like discipline, something like perspective that was growing quietly under the surface. Fast forward to the stories we hear, Freeman once said that the secret to his long career, staying active, staying vital, is discipline. He spoke of exercise, of eating well, of not overindulging. Not because he wanted to look good, but because he wanted to feel right. When your body isn't tugging at you with pain or guilt, your mind has more room, more space to breathe. Discipline for him was never about torture or deprivation. It was about respect. Respect for the gift of life, of voice, of presence. Another thing Morgan values, stillness. Not silence, but the ability to be in a moment without needing to fill it with words or gestures. He once said that he learned from great actors the art of being still. On screen, this stillness becomes a power. The scene shifts, the audience leans in, because there is authenticity. Emotions aren't forced. They aren't sold. They are quietly present. That stillness allows him to respond rather than react. When you respond, you choose. When you react, you're caught. I imagine a scene. Morgan Freeman walking into a chaotic set, lights everywhere, crew yelling, cameras flashing. Maybe something has gone wrong. Someone forgot a line or equipment malfunctioned. Many would snap or push frustration. Morgan, he breathes, he checks, he listens, then he acts. Because he knows that discipline and stillness don't mean passivity. They mean clarity under pressure. Discipline also extends to what he allows into his mind. Fame brings noise, rumors, expectations, comparisons. When you are a name, people expect you always to be on. Morgan has been candid about stage fright. Yes, even he feels fear sometimes. The standard 3. But that fear doesn't erupt into anxiety the way many expect. He admits forgetting lines on stage, remembering tension, but also acknowledges boundaries. He won't do theater if he feels the stakes will hurt more than help. He knows when to say yes and when to pull back. That decision alone takes strength, and it keeps him from being overwhelmed. Let's not forget the simple stuff, how he approaches routine. Exercise is part of that. Watching what he eats is part of that. He talks about the habit of eating becoming something that's more about desire than need, and how he tries to bring it back to need. When you care for your body, you're also caring for your peace. When your knees ache or your heart races because you overdid it, the mind struggles to stay calm. Then there's purpose. Morgan seems to have a sense of purpose that is bigger than fame or applause. He speaks with humility about storytelling, about doing work that moves him, about exploring curiosities, not about being on every screen, not about always being at the center. When purpose shifts from me to something real, ego gets smaller, anxiety gets quieter, gratitude grows. He's spoken about wanting to live forever, not in a literal way, but because he remains curious. Curious about people, ideas, stories, life itself. That curiosity pulls him forward, helps him to not dwell in what has passed or what might fail. Here's a quieter moment. In one interview, he said, "Learning how to be still, to really be still and let life happen." That stillness becomes a radiance. Think of that. Not running ahead, not scrambling, but letting life happen. Letting it wash over you, letting you be in it before being in control. That radiance is serenity. And serenity, Morgan's method isn't flashy. It's not about a secret pill or some mystical mantra. It's built of small decisions. The decision to breathe instead of snap. The decision to listen fully instead of assume. The decision to eat what the body needs, not what the impulse demands. The decision to say no. The decision to show up even when fear is there. These small decisions, repeated over decades, build a core no storm can shatter easily. There are times he's asked about mortality, aging, fading strength. Fair. At his age, things change. But he doesn't fight every change as loss. He adapts. He figures out what works now. He still walks, still works, still lives. He plays golf one-handed if needed. He lashes modest expectations with real gratitude. He doesn't cling to what was. That in itself is a kind of peace. And we see the results. When Morgan Freeman speaks, people listen, not because he shouts, but because he is calm. When he acts, his performances linger, because he gives space for the audience to feel, to think, to simply witness. When chaos comes, and it always does, he seems to absorb rather than bounce. He rarely lashes out. He rarely lets theatrics steal the moment. Now, I don't believe anyone is perfectly constant. Whatever Morgan shares publicly is only part of the story. What can we learn from him? First, you don't need to be loud to be strong. Calmness is not weakness. It's a muscle. You build it with practice. Second, stillness is not doing nothing. It's choosing what matters. Choosing when to act, when to pause, when to let things settle. Third, discipline isn't about perfection. It's about consistency. You don't have to wake up with perfect strength every day. But the small daily habits matter. The honoring of your body, your mind, your work. Here's one idea. Tomorrow morning, before you check your phone, take a minute, sit, breathe, listen. Let your body register the morning light. Let your mind pause. That pause can reshape how your day begins. It doesn't cost extra to do, but it gives much. Another idea. Check in with how you eat, how you rest, how long you stay angry or anxious. The things you think are small are making a bigger footprint on your peace than you realize. Morgan's secret is quiet, but it's there. It's in being intentional. So what if your secret to staying calm wasn't a secret at all, just a series of small acts, repeated over time? If you begin today, you might find your storms feel less overwhelming. Your voice feels steadier, your heart sits a little lighter. Want more deep dives like this into how people keep their peace when the world is noisy? Subscribe now and stay grounded with every story we share.